Well, hello everyone. This is Mr. Ormsby. I just wanted to make a quick reading to go with our first PowerPoint for Egypt geography. This is a very quick PowerPoint. I'm not going to go into super great detail, but some people were asking what to do on this PowerPoint, especially some people who have been stuck at home for a week or so or absent. Now, this video, I kept it small here because you'll notice there's a link in the middle that says Open Map. This is something you want to do with this slide. So we're going to go ahead and open that up now, and you'll tap it. I'll get a link. This is going to go over to a map, which is a pretty interesting little map. I think you guys will get some benefit out of this. Now, what you want to do, once you open this map, you see different areas of shaded in different colors for the different areas we're studying. We see Greece on the left, India, Mesopotamia. We will be doing Egypt. Now, before you use this map, go to the three bullets in the red bar up here, tap this, and select Copy Map. This will copy the map into your Google Drive, so you'll have the map and you won't make any changes to anybody else's map. So do that first. And once you do that, that's the map you want to use. There's a reading here that I will read with you here right now. It talks about ancient Egypt. It says the Nile runs through the entirety of Egypt and is 4,160 miles long, making it the longest river in the world. It flows north, beginning in East Central Africa, ending when it reaches the Mediterranean Sea. Rainfall gathered in the mountains south of Egypt is the source of the Nile's water. The land in Egypt is mostly desert in the northern Sahara, and it's not very fertile. However, when the Nile overflows each year, silt is deposited in the land near the river, which makes it very fertile. Around 4000 BC, the lands near the Nile's banks became increasingly populated by farmers. Since the water levels became unpredictable during the flooding season, Egyptians learned how to control flooding by using an irrigation system, streams, dams, and dikes, and by storing water in case of drought. Egyptian civilization and agriculture was almost entirely dependent upon the water and silt from the Nile. So, as we mentioned, this could be the most important river in the world. This area is very, very dry, and it would have no life there without the river, as I'm going to show you in the slides where people live. This is a great little slide. You can pick an area. There's a scavenger hunt where you can talk about three things about this area. You can come down different areas. You can use your two fingers to zoom in on the map. You can see a little more detail to the map. It gets very detailed as you see. I'll let this map clarify. There's Lake Nassar. I can zoom back out again. I can also go back over here and I can pick different areas. I can go to the Red Sea. I can zoom in. You can also, if you wanted to play around with this, you'll see we have Mesopotamia. If I click on Mesopotamia, it takes me over to the yellow, which we've been studying previously. And here you can see the Persian Gulf, the beginnings of the Euphrates, and the Tigris rivers here. So this is a neat little map. I'd love for you to check this out. Now, as far as the slides go, once we get back on the slide presentation, we can actually increase the size of this now. And you'll see the slides move very quickly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here today. I just want to show you how to access this information. The focus question we want to look for while we're watching: in what ways does geography shape their lives? Well, the geography is the physical environment and how it may influence the economy and culture. Well, as we just saw in the reading, the flooding deposited silt, which allowed them to grow crops and live and farm and have food. They also used those waters to maintain their animals, to maintain their plant life, and to travel on. And of course, there's fish in that water they can eat. So it shaped their lives immensely. We are in the continent of Africa, bordering the Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea. Okay, consider this. What can you infer from the high concentration of lights? Well, if this is nighttime and people have their lights turned on, well, we could infer or we could assume that that's where everyone lives. Look at all the people that live in the delta, the area there, and along the banks of the Nile, even up to the northeast along the banks of the Mediterranean, where Lebanon is today, is where the Phoenicians were from, we talked about last week. So you can see lots of activity. You can even see some people living over here along the banks of the Euphrates and the Tigris. So water is very valuable to these people. This is their life's blood. Okay, well, I'm going to move on from the scavenger hunt at this time. Now, this map is fantastic. You should have received a map from your teacher, either Mr. Lockett or Mr. Carroll or myself. If you did not get one, please ask for one. We see Lake Nassau, I briefly saw in the slide, would be up in the upper region. Now, it's going to fill in as we go. There's the Suez Canal. We'll see in a later slide. There's Upper Egypt, elevated in the mountain area. The Nile River, the most important river in the world. Lake Victoria to the far south, down by the legend. The Sahara Desert to the west. The Red Sea, which we have seen before from the previous lessons. The Persian Gulf, where the Tigris and Euphrates emptied into in Mesopotamia. We are on the continent of Africa. This is the Arabian Peninsula, modern-day Saudi Arabia. The Indian Ocean, as we saw in our last section. The Ethiopian highlands. Again, this is an elevated area. It's a bit higher, so for the water is going to flow down, which we're going to see flows down north to the delta into the Mediterranean. There's the White Nile. You'll need to know on the western side. I always remember that W is what the word west starts with, because on the east branch is the Blue Nile. And here's our Nile Delta, where it branches off into a flower-like shape. And we have so much green activity, you can see the growth in this image, in this satellite image. And the lower delta as we come down the mountain. Okay, modern-day Egypt. Here's a nice picture of the Nile River. As you see, right off the banks is very plush farmland. Here's a shot of the Blue Nile. It's a fantastic waterfall. Very large, as you can see by the size of the trees on its bank. There's our photo of Lake Nassau that's collecting the water. It's feeding into the Nile. The Nubian Desert, which is south of the lake. The Red Sea, we talked about in Mesopotamia. The Sahara Desert, very barren. Better have a camel and lots of water and supplies to head out that way. And the Suez Canal, which you see the perfect shape of it, because the canal has been formed and has been constructed by humans. That's not a natural occurring effect, but it's going to connect the Mediterranean and the Red Sea. And at nighttime, you can just see where everyone lives. And you can see all the growth in vegetation along the riverbanks and in the delta. And here we are at night again. That's a very quick slide, guys. Just take a peek at this. Check out your map. Become familiar. If you did not receive a hand paper map in class, ask your teacher to give you one of these. It will come in very handy on the first Egypt test on November 11th. Have a wonderful day, and if I don't see you before, have a happy Halloween.